So today, it's one of the practical series, under the Adapt and Advance practical series. So for the practical series, one of the things we do, we have four different unique things we look at weekly for the practical series every 4 weeks or every month. And today is the dated event. What I mean by dated event is using an event that has happened on a particular date to discuss the MAP LAMP principle or the Adapt and Advance principle. Last month, that was February 2025, the dated event I discussed was the loss of passing of my mother at the age of 32 for her. And that was February 13, 1986, which I shared with us in the video in February 2025. For March 2025, the dated event I'll be talking about today will be my medical school graduation, which was on 13th of March 2003. I still remember that day in my head vividly. It was one of the best days of my life that happened to me. And today I will be just using that to talk about medical school success secrets revealed. Using the MAP LAMP principle and also to drive this point home, I decided to also read again, which I've read before, long time ago, the book by Ben Cassin on the gifted hands, which I recommend to people to read too. There's a lot of things I also learned from this book. So I've used the MAP LAMP principle and this dated event, which is 13th March 2003. This is 2025, man, that's 23 years old. It's been a while now that I've been that I graduated from medical school, University of Ilorin, Nigeria. One, I'm grateful to God and to everyone that made this happen. It was tough going through medical school because of the situation I was in there, especially financially, and the fact that I lost both parents before I started medical school. But I got through it, and I've got through life after that too. A lot of other things have come up, and I'm grateful for everything I've been working as well. So let's jump in and using the MAP LAMP principle, see what we can bring out from my story personally and also from the story of Ben Cassin, which I'll be using in conjunction with my story today. So we're going to begin with meaning making. And like I always do with quotes, at times a Bible verse, at times the story of a successful person. For today, we take a quote / the story of a successful person, which I got the quote from Ben Cassin's book, and I'm going to read it out loud. It was one of the things Ben Cassin's mother always told them when they were growing up. I'm going to read it. It said, "You are the captain of your ship, so I agree with the same. If you travel downwards, you have yourself to blame." And that resonated so well with me. And, it worked for him too then, because from a very humble beginning for Ben Cassin, from so much of poverty, even the father was not part of his life at some point, just the mother alone, as a single mother trying to care for them. Life was rough, life was tough, and was able to become a world-renowned neurosurgeon from these humble beginnings. And what the mother always told him, it's huge. She said, "You are the captain of your ship." So I agree with the same. If you travel downwards, you have yourself to blame. I've read this book long time ago. I can't remember exactly when, but I'm sure maybe when I was in medical school then. It was one of the books I read. For me personally, one story I would bring for myself with this is, you are the captain of your own ship. No matter how hard things have for you, you still have yourself to blame for whatever the outcome of your life is. It might look cruel, some, it might like, do you even know me? Do you know what I'm going through? Do you know what I've been through? Of course I don't, and I don't claim to know. And I don't know everything. But from my own personal story, I can say that this is real and this is true. One thing I remember clearly from my medical school days, which I would like to share. I remember in my second year of medical school, shout out to, I won't mention his name, I think one of the leaders in NCCMBS at that time. NCCMBS is a Christian body for medical students then. There was a time I was wearing bedroom slippers to school because that was all I had. And he called me I will seek his permission and mention his name in another video. He called me and he was like, "Bro, Wole, why are you wearing slippers?" And that was what he called me, wearing slippers. And so that was all I had. Uh, you know, I just, that was all I had. Uh, so I remember having to go back home, find somebody else's shoe, which I picked. I won't mention his name. So I started wearing after that time. But the point I want to make is things were really that bad to the point that I didn't have like my own single shoe or anybody I could tell buy a shoe for me uh, at that point. But the point is, I have myself to blame. That's not an excuse for me to say I'm not going to become what I've been sent to be or to pass in medical school or to graduate from medical school. Of course, I did graduate. And that's why I'm sharing this story today. So the point is, no matter how bad things are, you have yourself to blame. You are the captain of your own ship. So I agree with the same. If you travel downward, you have yourself to blame. It's from a poem that Ben Carson's mother brought this out. So please, let us accept responsibility. This video is to inspire. It's not about my graduation. I'm talking, use an example, but it's to inspire. So decide to be the captain of your life, no matter how bad it is, or no matter how good it is. You are the captain of whatever. Accept responsibility. That's the other way to put it. Accept responsibility. No matter what you are going through in life, accept responsibility that whatever the outcome of this, it's my choice. It's my choice. And that was what, helped me through medical school then. I told myself something when I was in medical school. I said, although I've lost both parents, I know if I can just but struggle and graduate, at least, though that doesn't mean all challenges of life will go, but at least I know what to eat, what to drink, what to wear. At least getting finances to do basic things of life will not be a problem. So I struggled so hard. I pushed so hard, and I'm grateful I was able to get through it. So tell yourself, no matter what you are going through, decide to improve yourself. You might not necessarily be in school like I was at that time. Whatever level you have to like go to a job, do multiple jobs at the same time. Whatever it is to get out of the rut you are in right now. You are the captain of your own ship. You are the chief of your own life, and you can determine the course of your life. Do not resign to fate. Do not resign to the fact that I can't do it. I can't make it. You can do it. You can make it. I'm glad I made it through medical school despite the very hard financial hardship. So please, you can make it too. So we are going to talk about massive action, which is A, map lamp. M is meaning making. We've talked about that too. But before I even talk about massive action, for me, another meaning making I want to mention, which I've mentioned in prior video, is the fact that very early in my life, I decided I wanted to be a doctor. And then after my father passed, one of his friends told me that my father wanted to be a doctor, but he couldn't. He ended up being a pharmacist, and he has always had a dream, and that he wanted one of his children to be a medical doctor. And not surprisingly, that's when I started a pharmacy store and also started an hospital. Was employing doctors during his lifetime, but unfortunately, unfortunately, that's not where I'm going to work. And it's not going to be possible for me to work in that because it no longer exists. But the point I'm making is that was also a meaning for me. So when I was in medical school and things were rough, I always remember my father. I knew he really wanted me to be a medical doctor. He really struggled so hard and even tried in his early life, before 40 already, I owned an hospital. I was employing doctors. He really wanted me to become a medical doctor and come and work there. But of course, it's no longer existing, but I'm grateful that also kept me going. So you need to also find something strong that keeps you going to make meaning of whatever you're going through in life. So let's now move on to action now, so A is massive action. So Ben Carson took 2 massive action, which I'm also going to share my own part of that. One is rigorous study habit. I remember his mother told him, was in middle or high school, that he had to read two books every week. I can't remember the number now. Was reading books like regularly, 2 books from the library every week. And then overall, of course, to be a neurosurgeon must have been very hardworking at different stages of life. So it's important for us to have rigorous study habit if you're in school. If you're not in school, life needs some rigorous action at time. You just got to push through. The other thing is it reduces distractions. mom told him and his brother, Ben Casting and his brother, then they actually just watching television. So was it 1 or 2 shows every week? They were like, is this going to happen? But she was like, you've just got to read and be great in life. And I will also use, again, this is practical, talking about the MAPLAN principle. It helped me to get out of medical school. 13th March 2003. And for me, two things that are similar to Ben Casting for me is one, of course, I had to apply rigorous study habits to medical school. Is tough anywhere in the world. Plus, it was just tougher in Nigeria because things were just generally tough for me as a person at that point of my life. And they have a lot of cushion that other people had. The rigorous study habits, I remember there was a time in my fourth year medical school. Yeah, we call it fourth year, yeah. Medical school, in Nigeria, medical school is 6 years. So just for context. So the fourth year of medical school, that was when we do pharmacology, pathology. I remember failing a lot of the exams, the end of posting exam. And there's the big one, which we call MBBS 1 exam, which will be the final exam for pathology and pharmacology. And if you don't do well in the end of posting exams and you enter the main exam with very low scores in the end of posting exam, the likelihood of failing, or even being withdrawn from medical school, is very high. We had colleagues that were withdrawn because of this. This is not to spite them, but just to let you know, things could really go south or very bad very quickly. So I was doing very poorly on all these exams. I'm like, I've got to do something strong. I remember for 1 full year, when I was preparing to redo all the end of posting and to prepare for the big one, which is the final exam, the MBBS1 pharmacology and pathology, I was sleeping 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. That's 6 hours. I've shared with you, when I sleep 6 hours, I'm good every day. And I wake up 1 a.m. every day for like a year. I wake up 1 a.m., I'll pray, read the Bible, like decree I'm going to pass, get Bible verses that promises success for about an hour, and I'll start to study from around 2 p.m. I'll read till like 6, 7 a.m. in the morning, get ready and go to classes. That was my life for about a whole year. Yeah, I just knew I needed to do something drastic. I knew I needed to do something extremely drastic, to be able to pass that exam. I've suffered so much in life. I've lost both parents already. I've won sleepers to classes in my second and third year. And now I'm in my fourth year. I'm so close, to finishing in the next 2 years. And this is not the time for me to get withdrawn from medical school. I can laugh about it now. I was like, I've got to be aggressive about this. I was extremely aggressive. So I would study from around 2 a.m. to 5 to 6 a.m., 7 a.m. in the morning, get ready, go to class, make sure I attended my classes, do all the best I could, and then get back. And I made it. I eventually passed all the end of postings. I had to take them again. Like, there were multiple, both pharmacology. I was failing everything at that point. I had to take everything again of posting. Eventually, I passed some of them marginally, maybe just at 50%, just the passing score. And then the big one came, MBBS pharmacology and pathology. And I am so grateful to God I passed it one time. The point I'm making is rigorous study. But of course, that's not the only time I've studied in my life. There have been multiple other opportunities when I had to do rigorous study. I've shared in past video about my USMLE1 exam in US too. So failure is a friend to me. I've failed many times, and I'm not ashamed to say it. Because I believe strongly that failure is fuel for us to use to turn things around for good. Not that I love failing, but they just happen. Then reducing distraction. Ben Casting was, the mom forced them not to watch television, like only 1 or 2 shows a week. And for me too, many reasons for me, even till now, I struggle with watching television. I've tried to say, okay, I'm going to watch 1 show a week. It's just so hard. Because very early in my life, because of the focus on succeeding and making sure I pass, I decided not to make television part of my life. Till today, it's not. It's just so hard for me to even watch. Though I try to watch family movies every Sunday whenever I'm able, as much as possible with the family. But the purpose of that one is to bond with the family and to do something together with the family. It's not so much, although I enjoy the movie too. some. My children know the kind of movies I love, and they get it for me, and I love it. So it's not like I don't enjoy when I watch it, but it's just that it's an habit I've formed over time that I don't want to waste time, a lot of time watching other people's thing. I want to do my own thing. And also, I think the mentorship I had from Bishop Oyedepo very early, like I mentioned, 2000, I was still in medical school year, 2000 was when I started going to Living Faith Church, and I read almost all the books Bishop Oyedepo wrote at that time. I read it. Bishop Oyedepo is the pastor of Living Faith Church, Winners Chapel in Nigeria. He writes a lot. And I just learned from him that he doesn't watch television. So that just got ingrained in me, and I love the kind of success he has. So if one of the things he has to sacrifice is not watching a lot of television, then I could as well sacrifice it. So that got ingrained in my heart long time ago. And so watching TV is not my thing. But hopefully, maybe when I get a bit more comfortable, or when I grow up, I'll start watching it a little bit more than I'm doing right now. So the next one is P, which is planning, not over just talking about planning. I think one thing we can learn from Ben Carson's story is what the big surgery he had of separating the Siamese twins, that they planned for months, maybe 5 months or so. A lot of planning, working with groups and other things like that, and eventually had a successful surgery. For me, medical school needed a lot of planning. Like I told, just give us the story of how to change an exam around and pass it. A lot of planning went into it. And generally, it took planning, going to classes. You have, to have cases that you present to your senior registrars and things like that. We have to prepare for exams at the same time, so you have exams, you have classes, you have cases, you have clinics, everything running together. For me in medical school was a lot, but it needed a lot of planning and organization. So I believe I learned a lot of my organizational skills during that period and put them to use. So it's important for us to always plan. Wherever you are now in your life, you have to sit down and say, where I am, where do I want to get to, and do I get there? And that's what planning is. Okay, learning, which is Map Lamp L. Learning, and there's something I read in Ben Carson's book, a quote I'm going to read to us. He said, the doors of the world are open to people who can read. So I encourage you, if you have not read this book, it's not a very big book. I think it's about 5 hours on Audible audio listening to it. So I want to encourage you to go and learn something from the book, one, and then the doors of the world are open. I think that was something the mother told him. I can't remember who told him. Are open to people who can read. Learning is great. I just shared with us that I read almost all the books by Bishop Oyedepo, and I was in my 4th, 5th, 6th year of medical school. Medical school is 6 years in Nigeria. So those last 3 years, I read and read. I was reading. That was when I started the principle of reading one book every week, 52 books. I had a library, I had a book library. People came to borrow books from me. I learned a lot. Most of what I'm doing right now, the foundation was laid at that time. And learning, I just can't emphasize it enough. Even till now, when I listen to book, like I was reading Atomic Habits last week, and it was like I was learning things I've never seen in my life. I was excited inside of me. I'm made for reading. So that's what I use my own downtime for. I encourage you to please find a space in your heart to put reading. Once a month, maybe. That's my minimum recommendation. But of course, if one book in 3 months is what you can do, I think it's a baby step is fine. Like we read, one of the things in that Atomic Habit is be better 1% daily. So I recommend one book every month minimum. I do one book every week. If you can do more, that's fine. And I always remember Tony Robbins in his book where he talked about himself reading about 700 books at a point in his life. Today is a billionaire. Not to say you become a billionaire, you read books. You might read books and not be one. But the point is, he Anthony Robbins always referred to book reading as one of the things that helped him a lot. He also had a very rough childhood too, and kind of a lot of poverty growing up, but reading was very helpful for him, and he was able to gain control of his life. So to me, I've just read too many stories of people that succeeded, and one of them, major secret, was reading. So I just cannot but read. I remember one TV show video said, somebody asked him, "What is your secret?" He said, "I read and I think. I read and I think. I read and I think." So I want to be like people like that, and I encourage you to be the same. Alliance formation. You can do life alone. It's just not possible. Ben Carson shared like most of his surgeries. He never did things alone. He shared the example of how his wife was very helpful to him. His biological brother was very helpful to him at different times. Paid for subscription for a particular the newsletter or something that was very helpful for him making decisions. Initially, he said he wanted to be a psychiatrist, which was one, because I'm one. So yeah, but anyways, the point I'm making here is you can't do life alone. So from his biological brother, his biological mother, to colleagues at work, you could see the handwriting of people helping him at every stage of his life. And for me too, my medical school story cannot be complete without me appreciating people that were very, very instrumental to helping me. So many people. Specifically, I remember for most of my medical school days, the house I lived in the most, apart from staying in school, was Justice Folayon's, Maria's house, and I'm deeply grateful to her. I don't think I need the permission from her to mention her name. Everybody knew I stayed there. She was my mom's bridesmaid at her wedding and very, very close to my mother. I deeply say thank you to you, ma. She left her house door open to me anytime. And I'm very grateful. Most times I go get raw food to take to school. I'm so grateful to you, ma, for being there. So you can't do life alone. She was very, very helpful at different stages. Of course, she had her own struggles. Then she was a widow and so many things, but she's still out of her lack. She went out of her way to be a blessing to me and my younger ones. I'm very grateful to you. Of course, many other people have talked about my father's friend who helped me to get into medical school. I'm very grateful. So many people. So they are just alliances of people that were very helpful, very helpful. To just first mention names to be here for hours and hours. So, but if I didn't mention your name, that doesn't mean you did not do a very great role in my help. Not help. Just that we don't have enough space for that. So thank you, everyone. And I'm grateful for that. I graduated out of medical school because people helped me. Okay, M, which is mission statement. Dr. Carson told us about how he's able to have scholarship programs now and many other things that he's using to help other people. Because of his humble beginnings, he's trying to help people get scholarships and people get not being stopped because of funds or finances, trying to make something good out of their lives. And of course, prior to becoming a neurosurgeon, of course, he always had this dream in his heart and wanted to matter in life. So same way I could give many examples of, I've always had mission statement from my medical school days of I want to help my patients. One thing I tell myself specifically every morning going into work is, my face, my looks, my smile, my touch, my words, everything I do, let it be a blessing to my patients, my colleagues, everybody I meet today. So that's one mission statement I would just like to, that I don't emphasize enough about, is I want to be a blessing, which is the last part of my overall mission statement, to be the best version of myself, to feel God's purpose for me, to be the best version of myself. And to move from success and value to a greater success and value daily, and to contribute positive to the life of people that I meet on my, that's the last part. So every day I go to work with the mind is I want to contribute positively to people I meet, my patients, my colleagues, my co-workers, every single person I meet on my way. And that's one big mission statement I work with every single day. Finally, prayers. Ben Carson attributed most of his of success to God, seeking spiritual guidance at every stage of his life. I remember he talked about a time when he was struggling with anger issues. He was very angry, and he was able to pick a particular Bible verse, and like God used it to minister to him. And he said since that day, the particular incident happened in his life till today, he has been able to manage his emotions better. That also tells us the power of prayer. So I don't know what you are struggling with. Maybe you're angry, or struggling with an addiction, or struggling with whatever you might be in your life. I want you to know that there's power in prayers, and incorporating prayer, so all these other things we're talking about could just tip things in the right direction. I will encourage you to pray. For me, in medical school, I was very prayerful. I am still prayerful, but then it's different. My prayerfulness now is slightly different from what it was in those days. In Living Faith Church, we used to have all nights. Every month, like we go to church on Friday night, 11 p.m. and pray till 5 a.m. in the morning. So we praise God, we pray, we praise God, we pray every single month. And I was a part of that. And I'm glad I was. There's no such thing in the US, but, I still do my very early morning, 2.5 hours, directly or indirectly related to prayer and other things that I do. But the point is, I was very prayerful at that point. And usually that period of my life, that 1 year plus period when I was waking up 1 a.m. every day, the first 1 hour is prayers, because I'm like, God, please help me. I must not drop out of medical school. Help me. I pray for an hour, then I start to study. So it's not just prayers alone, of course. Like Paul said in the Bible, show me your faith without your action. I will show you my faith with my action. So of course, after praying 1 to 2, I'm not going to study maybe 2 to 6 or 2 to 5. That's 4 or 5. 1 hour prayer, 4 hours study. So kind of like, so it's not like only prayers. I'm not saying prayers is the only thing you should do, but at the same time, watch and pray. That's what Jesus said. So you pray on one hand, you watch on one hand. When you pray that God, I want success, I want to be this, I want to be that, then you also get to work on the other hand. So both of them work together for good. I wouldn't do one without the other. I wouldn't pray without working, and I wouldn't work without praying. I would match the two together. Okay. So that's my story of medical school, and I'm celebrating 22 years, I think, 2003, yeah, this 2025. So 22 years out of medical school. I'm extremely grateful to God that I finished medical school successfully, and I can talk about it 22 years later now, about some of the experiences to inspire other people. The purpose, again, of this video is to inspire others, whether you're in school or not, just to inspire you to be the best version of yourself. Like this video, watch this video, share with people that will benefit from it, and get ready to read my book, Provide Great Reviews, when it's out in May 2025, and launching starts June 1st, 2025. Again, the title of the book is Adapt and Advance. This video started because of the book. So these videos were not really planned on its own. It started to create awareness for the book and to share a little bit of the things I've written in the book part time, which I've always done a little bit, although not all the time. So thank you so much for watching. Say hi to everyone around you. And it's not too much to say I love you. I believe you love me too. With the love of Jesus, though. Bye.